This is Jack Vickers, and you are listening to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix, also known as The Hood.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I'm one of your lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by your other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Hi, folks.
Thank you, Josh. It is podcast number 108. It is Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. It's a beautiful evening. I got both my blinds are open. I got a beautiful dusky sky. The sun has already set, but there's still that orange a little bit above the horizon because the sun doesn't go anywhere, believe it or not. It's still there, even as the earth continues to spin. So nice little beautiful scenic thing I'm seeing here. But I want to let the people know about our Discord community. Love chatting with people. We had another great game day. I understand it's probably going to die down around week 11 where people are really starting to get saturated and exhausted with football, but we've had a good couple weeks in the Discord, so you love to see that. For people who are in there, we appreciate you interacting and just chatting about the games, and we'd ask you to keep it going. For people who'd love to leave us voicemails, anchor.fm/hoodpod/message. Be a great way you could interact with the show as well. Segment start times are down in the description below, and we'd like to thank @Levi Illustration for all the beautiful art that people can see on Spotify or on YouTube or wherever you're watching or listening right now. Josh, how we doing today?
We darn. It's a beautiful Tuesday evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. My Tuesday was pretty uneventful. Life is pretty calm these days. Depressing game last night, but we'll get into that in a moment. But I'd say life's good. Probably, if anything, I probably should have gone on a walk today. Oh, shout out to Mika. We got Western Australia in the audience. I'm not sure if this might be the first time Mika's ever listened live, at least as we're on Discord. I know he might have been in some YouTube chats, but this might be Mika's first appearance in the Discord as we're live. So shout out to Western Australia. But anyways, I think I probably should have gone on a walk today, Josh. Probably should have got outside. Probably should have got some beautiful air. But otherwise, I'm doing good. Did you get your activity in for the day, Josh? Are you a stellar citizen compared to me?
Yeah, I walked to my car, which is parked in the garage, and I drove to work, and I walked to the office, and I sat down for a solid 7.5 hours, realized I had to pee, so I peed, and then I left.
I could not imagine holding a pee for 7.5 hours. That sounds awful.
I did not hold a pee for 7.5 hours. No, I biked 30 minutes before I hopped on here for the podcast, get my blood flow going, act like an athlete.
You're smart. See, I neglected to do most of my pre-show notes until right before the show, so that's what I was doing. But you win some, you lose some,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing good. You're doing good. Again, Western Australia, shout out in the audience. Josh, are you ready to get right into the show here? What, pal?
Absolutely. Should we start from the bottom since we've got an upside downer in the
No. We don't have to accommodate him. He'll figure it out on his own. All right, we'll get right into Gar's grinder here then. And, I'm going no other than the Italian stallion Jimmy G. Dude has been an unsexy, I'll admit, a not very sexy quarterback for a while, but the dude gets it done. The situation he's been this, for the background, for the people who don't know, even though everyone listening knows, been a 49er for a while. They traded 3 first-round picks, traded the future to trade up and get Trey Lance. They signed him to a deal to be a backup. Jimmy G starts to ride the bench this year. Trey Lance breaks a fucking ankle. Jimmy G comes right off that bench. Gets it done in a not sexy fashion. Straight up Jimmy G, the one we love, goes 13 for 21, 154 yards and a tud, and also a rushing touchdown. San Francisco wins 27-7. Jimmy G, welcome back. Do you think this team is significantly better, significantly worse, or the same with Jimmy G over Trey Lance, Josh?
I would say that they are about the same. As far as their finished win-loss record goes, they're probably a better team overall because he's got the experience with them. I don't think that he's going to be a big difference maker when it comes down to it because Trey Lance's athletic ability. But I think that I think it's pretty interesting. Like you said, they traded their future away for a guy who's going to have thrown the ball 400 times in the last 4 years. And that's like Matt Stafford's season. So it's I don't know. I mean, everybody rips the Jordan Love trade just because of proximity, but this was another head scratcher, especially when they had just kind of gone to the playoffs and made a run with Jimmy G.
I mean, if you believe the rumor mill, allegedly it sounds like they were going to do the trade up no matter what. Allegedly, Shanahan originally wanted Mac Jones, and then other people in the organization sold him on. Mac Jones, starting quarterback for the New England Patriots.
I don't know, it's a Mike Jones joke.
Oh, well, I'm not cool enough, Josh, for jokes like that. But yeah, who knows? Trey Lance still could be figured out. He obviously won't necessarily get the same kind of like another sitting year because obviously the dude broke his ankle. But ultimately, I think it's going to be better for Trey Lance's chances at success. So you don't want to see a man get injured, but ultimately, I think it'll help his career long term. So we'll see how that goes. And Jimmy G is free next year. So. That was Gar's Grinder. Josh, let's hop right into the rant and rave then. And, I have my first pulling point here, but I figure I just talk, so I should let you go first. You got any rants or raves after week 2 of NFL and fantasy football?
I don't, other than, Kyle Pitts stinks. I regret taking him in the 3rd, 4th round turn. I hate his guts. I'm still 2-0 with him on my team, but he stinks. Gar, go ahead.
You don't have any. You don't want to rant about the Deflate These Balls League or the. Looks like you got a couple losses. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, no big things. I mean, my 2 losses. One of them was against the median. One of them is in a butt sweat league where I would have lost to everybody. But that team is, an adopted team. So I figure I've got like a 6-year grace period before I actually need to start winning. And then Deflate These Balls. I'm just on an active tank, as people might have figured out when I traded away a player today for a pick and didn't fill his spot on the bench.
Wow. Okay. So Josh, just in week 2, or after week 2, Josh has decided to tank in a league. I respect the move, but I'm also an active tanker.
I mean, Deflate These Balls. Let's just face it. My entire team is tanking in real life. They
Regardless,
are trash.
They're tanking with or without you.
I score more fantasy points than half my roster.
Sure. Oh boy. All right. Well, then for me, the rant and the rave, I just wanted to talk about, I talked about it on the Saturday morning show, but, Vikes fans, I hate to say I told you so. I don't really win anything by doing it. But, I kind of warned people that the hype was just out of control, Josh, and I personally couldn't handle it, so I can only imagine how, Packers fans or some other people are feeling right now. Not that, you Packers fans like to think you're above cheering for our losses, but no, there's definitely some snooty people out there. Anywho, so I hate to say I told you so Vikings fans, but, the Vikings were going to get smacked in the mouth. The hype was too much, and I'm much more interested to see how they respond to this. Not saying we necessarily needed a smack of the mouth week 2. Could have come week 4, week 5 if we, I would have taken a couple more wins before a smack of the mouth, but ultimately just the arrogance of the fans and of some of the players. I was listening to a lot of interviews after last week's game, and some people like Thielen and Jet, and just there was a little too much arrogance for my liking. Like, obviously, like people to be confident after a win, but the vibe I was getting from a lot of people, not KOC. I will absolve KOC of any guilt, but a lot of people on the team, they were kind of given the vibe that their shit don't stink, which was not the case, and we saw that in alarming fashion on Monday night. So, I think this team it's definitely possible this team has a higher ceiling with KOC than we did with Zimmer. It's definitely yet to be seen, and so the people who were pretending this team was completely different after 1 week, they were obviously wrong. So that's the only rant I had. Vikings fans, we still could do great things. We'll see how KOC responds, but the hype was out of control, and so I'm just happy I called it, I guess.
Yeah, now I'm thinking that, so I think that Philadelphia's defense, they have a solid line, offensive and defensive line, so they push bodies around. But them having Slay, Shadow, Jefferson most of the night, obviously you could see the result on the defensive side. Jefferson was shut down essentially all night. 2 of the interceptions that Kirk threw were to Slay off covering Jefferson, and it just makes me go, hey, Matt LaFleur, did you see that? Maybe you should let the best corner on your team shadow the best receiver, because week 1 Jair Alexander wanted to, but no, they're going to play zone. So I don't know. Maybe they had the recipe for success. Maybe Jefferson, gets a total of 5 yards the rest of the season. Who knows? I do know that Delvin Cook is, in fact, a cannibal, because I saw him eating toast on the sideline, and that dude is toast.
He's toast, huh? He only got 6 carries.
Yeah, for negative. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
We definitely got away from the run, but that's, it's a common theme when you're behind. KOC will learn. We'll see if he adjusts. But that's only the rant and the rave I had, Josh. I guess neither of us. I didn't have anything to rave about in fantasy. We'll get to that in the grain of salt because I had a rough week in fantasy. But with that, Josh, let's hop right into the weekly recap then. And our weekly recap always starts with the grain of salt. So, Josh, I just went on another bit of a tangent. So let's hear your grain of salt first, pal. Why should people listen to your fantasy advice, huh? How good are you?
Well, I went 3-2 in my regular leagues, my dynasty leagues. I did survive in 2 guillotines, and then so I had 3-2 this week, bringing me to 7-3 on the season for games that are not guillotine or the deflate these balls leagues. So 70% win rate in leagues I'm trying to win in.
Hell yeah.
Overall, with the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, I am sitting at a solid 101 wins to 55 losses.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take it. I will say that if it wasn't for the Butt, Sweat, and Beers League, I'd probably have a much better percentage because that is 2-20 over the 2 weeks. But hey, win some, you lose a lot. Gar, how salty are you?
I'm definitely saltier than you, Josh. Week 1, I was 7-1 in the leagues that I'm counting. This week I was 3-5 in leagues I'm counting. So 10-6 overall, straight up head to head. That's a 62% win percentage. We are looking rough, but I kind of warned it last week. All the wins weren't what they appeared. We're still alive in 2 guillotines, but also I'm definitely in like the bottom 4th of those 2 guillotines. So I might have to spend some money here or just pray my team turns it around. But, in the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, I am 96-99. So I'm below 500, and it's getting kind of ugly out there. But I'm hoping I can bounce back. We have at least a couple good teams, and it's only week 2. So give me at least 2 more weeks before I can really start to call some of my teams doom and gloom. But we'd certainly love to be above 500 2 weeks in. So you want to stack up some wins early if you want to give yourself a nice, easier path to the fantasy playoffs. But I'm not there yet, so that's the way she goes. And that's our grain of salt, Josh. Unless you got anything else you want to talk about in your personal fantasy leagues, I'm going to do the Hoodlines. So I've queued you up. You don't have to agree to it. But
what about the FanDuel top 3?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I've queued you up I put all the stats in there for you. We can just go ahead and blow through the top 3. We don't have to sit here and go into great detail.
Okay, yeah, I got you now. So we've got the top 3 fantasy points in the FanDuel League. Lamar with 42.62. Tua, whom he was playing against, with 40.86. And then Tua's wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, with 36.5. So those 3 guys all in the same game put up the top 3 numbers. Shocker. Top 3 values. The Jags defense versus Indiana had a 7 times value with 21 points. The Bucks at New Orleans defense 6.2 times with 26 points. And then Tua at Baltimore with the 6 times value with his 40.86 points. Top 3 weekly totals in the play along. Carmel with 144.48. That's a made up team. Waltz 144.28. Canny 120.48. So a big drop off between the top 2 there. Top 3 leaderboard through 2 weeks. Walters with 262.5, Caramel with 254.8, and Derek with 246.74. Congrats, you 3. Enjoy it while it lasts. Week 3, you're done. Gar, it's now time for us to bring the news. We bring the good. We bring the bad. We say some things that might make you sad. This is Hoodlines. We bring the bad. We speak the good. These are some stories from the hood. Hoodlines.
Brought to us by Skybusters. In our first story tonight, a local Purple Leighton Scandinavian team thinks championships are won week 1, then takes a brutal jackhammering after thinking that. In other news, the city of Blaine is stunned as a mustached murderer is heard shouting, "Who's the disappointment now, Dad?" in a cold-blooded killing. In police accountability, a North Dakota sergeant's body cam footage showed use of excessive force to neutralize a loud hillbilly who was already dead. In entertainment news, Dak Street's back all right. The boy band reunion tour was seen trampling a gnome birthing celebration. And finally, our main story tonight. Your deranged commissioner cancels side bets indefinitely. How can you protect yourself financially?
Wow.
You like that? You like that shit?
I do. Yeah.
We're putting an effort here, folks.
We have background sounds.
I had to cut. Obviously, I had made a bunch more Hoodlines, but then I had to cut some, so I wanted to get the timing just right, and I didn't want it to take too long. But I felt pretty good about that. So I don't want to, say you have to live up to that standard next week, Josh. And we can go back and forth on the Hoodlines, but you got about 45 seconds there in the middle.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, obviously, we talked a little bit more about the Hood last week after the Hoodlines themselves. How you and I both had a pretty dominant week 1, and then week 2, I know I had a pretty heavy drop off. What was your week 2 feeling? How do you feel how do you feel about your team after 2 weeks in?
Well, for the side bet there, you won the side bet. I don't know if we had gotten that far yet, or if we'd talked about that.
Oh, I was kind of ignoring that fact. I didn't even want to talk about it, but.
Because was it because the side bet you won was the one that you said you didn't want to win?
Bingo.
Okay. Let's just say that I came in second place for that side bet. And so, yeah, I think we suffered a little bit of scoliosis on that one, where we thought the championship was already locked in. So, I had to give my team a little bit of a pep talk. Herbert I told him, cracked rib cartilage is not an excuse. Get out there and chuck the pigskin around a little bit more. And so, I did still get a win, but it was an ugly win. I literally closed my app to leave to go meet with some church friends for the evening prior to the Dallas game ending, and I had lost by like 1.3. And then I got home and I saw I beat Jeremy by 0.6. So I was like, oh, okay. I'll take it, but was not expecting that win. So I'm a little happy with it. I will say that, the girls are back in town apparently, because they are dominating us right now. If I remember correctly from what Cletus or whatever our bots range bot said.
The range bot Cletus. What is that? See, he's not the robot for Fox NFL Sunday. But no, yeah, Jamie is definitely doing really well. She's 4-0. She's currently in first place in the league, so she's won both median matches and won both head-to-head. She just put up 158 on Willie. That was one of the Hoodlines. Nikita, I did cut her Hoodline, but she is 3-1. She put up 156.1 points, so she had just 2 points less than Jamie's high score of the week. And she is 3-1, so she either got unlucky with the head-to-head last week or lost the median. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
she
women
got unlucky with the head-to-head. Because in the report that I had put out earlier, she is actually in the lead for average points.
Ooh, okay, so she's doing pretty good. Yeah, the women are dominating us is the bottom line. And the only other thing I want to talk about was Jeremy. Obviously, the guy you beat, Jeremy, you beat him by what, 0.45 there, or 0.35.
Never any doubt.
He made his team name hanging with Mr. Cooper. The namesake of his team, which was another cut Hoodline for time, was on his bench. If he would have played Amari Cooper, he would have won.
Oh, if he would have played anybody on his bench, he would have won.
Oh boy.
I don't know, because I think he had like 3 or 4 guys on his bench that outscored like his flex spot, maybe, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, when it comes down to it, like the report that I sent out with the luck ratings, I was the luckiest team overall with a 69.23% luck rating. So yeah, on the season, I'm the second luckiest team in the league. So I guess, I'll take it. If you aren't good, you better be lucky, right?
All right, I agree. One other thing to hit here, Josh, before we move on. Jesse scored 60.45 points last week, and then Jesse scored 76.1 points this week. Is Jesse already dead? Does Jesse have 0 shot?
Yeah, I mean, you could add up both of his weeks, and he'd lose to you week 1. So it's not looking so good for the dead hillbilly that T brutally assaulted.
Excessive force. We need better police accountability. The good thing that body cam was there. We never would have known about this tragedy.
Yep, but yeah, no, Jesse. I don't even know who's on his team, but
I can see the top 3. His top 3 performers were Aaron Rodgers less than 20, DJ Moore at 13, and then Terry McLaurin at 12. Were his top 3.
Yeah, no, he's dead.
All right, that was the Hoodlines, and then the Hoodlines after chat, or whatever you want to call it, the after talk, brought to us by Skybusters. Thank you so much, Skybusters, for your continued support. Moving on to I didn't write down the segment start time for the Hoodlines either. I was too distracted. Anyways, Josh, moving on to the worthy waivers here. We talked about Brad's Guillotine League, or at least we mentioned it. We're both alive still. Unlike JWoww's League, now two teams just became available. I guess how do you feel about the waiver wire week one? Are you gonna, you said last week you weren't gonna spend big. Do you still feel the same? It looks like you're pretty dominant in Brad's Guillotine, but how are we feeling about the waiver wire this week? Anyone like is Jimmy G someone you want to pick up? How are we feeling
in Brad's?
Just anywhere, I guess. I don't know, any of your leagues.
No, I'm
if you were QB needy, if you want to do hypotheticals, if you were QB needy.
Yeah, I'll probably still trot out the guy with the 4 broken vertebrae, Jameis in JWoww's League. I've got Jalen Hurts in Brad's League. I thought I put up a pretty solid week with 153.25, but would you put up 220? So it's just kind of like, okay, buddy.
That's if you don't remember Woodjo, that is Ryan, former member of the Madden League and original member of the Dynasty League. Rip.
Yeah, no, through 2 weeks, he has 368 points for. I'm the next closest with 283. So his team is absolutely bonkers, apparently. So congrats to him on that. But I'm sitting pretty good with where I'm at. Don't necessarily need to add too many people. If I were to add anybody, it might steer towards a run back of some kind because Breece Hall isn't necessarily going to be my guy. Neither is Rex Burkhead. Those are my 2 starting running backs. So, yeah, it's been a little ishy. So, yeah. How about you? Anybody that you're snagging?
I guess I usually, like Tuesday nights, obviously the night I have to go through and do all this because waivers will run tonight or tomorrow morning, however you want to look at it. But, I'm not eyeing up Jimmy G. He's never been like a significant fantasy asset. Just to talk about last week, I know we were talking about, people who picked up Jeffrey Wilson were happy. People who picked up Curtis Samuel were happy. I'm right now searching up Devin Duvernay. I know I called him fool's gold last week. How'd he do? He's currently wide receiver 17. He probably had another touchdown. Yeah, he only had 2 targets and 2 receptions. No, he didn't even have a touchdown. Okay. Or you had a kick return touchdown. So depending on whether or not your league lets you get those kick return points for specific players. But yeah, Devin Duvernay did end up being fool's gold. But the other thing I'd be curious about, Josh, obviously because you did, it honestly came out of nowhere for me. I know before the season started, I'm always trying to improve my deflate these balls team, trying to get myself some receivers. Not a lot of dynasty teams will necessarily decide to throw in the towel after week 2, but after 2 weeks, that's probably a really good time if a stud player is playing underperformances to buy low, or if someone who probably shouldn't be playing too well has had a really good 2 weeks, you could try and sell high. Whether they're on your team or just in the hypothetical, are there any really good buy lows out there for you or sell highs right now that you can think of?
Yeah, I think a sell high is going to be Mike Williams. I heard he's contemplating retirement.
You son of a bitch.
No, nothing that I've been thinking about. Obviously that trade got a little bit of a conversation going this morning with some people. I thought it was fairly even based on what our goals are. You're looking to, load up, and I'm looking to rebuild. Obviously, I would see some kind of some throwback if I were to take a 2024 first from you instead of 2023, because then it's like, well, I don't know, what's the point of that? But overall, I thought that was a pretty fair trade. That guy, Mike Williams, was likely going to sit on my bench every game except for bye week. So it's whatever. And so, yeah, that's the move I'm making right now. I've just got a message from Mika asking if CMC is available because I'm tanking. I was joking. I'm not tanking in that league. I do think that I have an opportunity to win with that team. So sorry, Mika. But I do. I don't necessarily have anything off the top of my head. How about you?
Darrell Henderson, you question whether or not Cam Akers is going to come in and take a big chunk. Someone like Michael Carter, is Breece Hall really going to come take over? Those are some potential sell highs that they've been amazing. Tony Pollard, is he going to continue? There's just some people I have question marks about buy low, like Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. They're obviously not even bad players. It'd be hard to buy low, but just, I don't know, man. I guess I was just curious what you thought. I didn't have anyone off the top of my head. because obviously, yeah, we talked about Mike Williams. He had one really bad week and one really good week in Keenan Allen's absence. So, I wanted him regardless, but I could see how other people would try and sell him after one good week, while people forget that Keenan's coming back. So, I don't have anyone, but that's just the way she goes. And I'd be curious what other people think. If you want to throw out any buy low or sell high candidates, feel free to throw it in the chat. You can have a nice little discussion about that. But if you don't got anything else, Josh, we can go ahead and we can hit some outro stuff before the obituaries. I know we're kind of redoing the order just a bit. I don't know. You have anything else you want to say to the folks out there? Should I just remind them about the show and then get you ready for you all bitch?
Yeah, go Packers.
All right, people, don't forget about the Discord or leaving us voicemails, anchor.fm/hoodpod/message. We will be back here Saturday at 8 a.m. Central. I guess I don't know if it's daylight or standard right now. Central, I want to say it's daylight time still. Anyways, Saturday at 8, we always send out the notification, so don't forget about that. We thank you all so much for listening. And then here is Josh reading some obituaries of our fallen comrades who have died to the guillotine. Josh, go ahead and take it away.
R.I.P. in peace. Foster, 9/5/22, 9/19/2022. This man has lived 9 lives through guillotine, always seemingly on the chopping block. He invested his hope in his hometown quarterback with the hopes of surviving by the skin of his teeth. Foster would watch as Kirk plays with his heart like a cat does a ball of yarn, batting around with malice in its eyes. If he dies, he dies, would be the last thing Foster hears as he watches Cousins throw his 3rd interception of the night. Whether it was a sigh or a groan, the air escaping Foster as he gave his last breath was eerily reminiscent of the sound the Metrodome made as its roof collapsed upon itself. Seemingly, it is a perfect metaphor for the performance he had witnessed from his team this week. R.I.P. in peace, Foster. In a tragic cotton candy flavored incident, we mourn the loss of Derek Carriage Schultz and Kyle Ninetails age Jevnager 9/5/22 to 9/19/2022. While onlookers watched as these two seemed destined for death after 7 days, a merciful commish granted a 7-day extension for them to alter their fates. Alas, mercy prolonged the suffering as these two slap-dicked their way to defeat. Kyle's death was aided by the bland, sugar-free flavoring of Kirk Cousins and the forged permission slip from Hunter Henry to skip Sunday's game. Kyle went out in the way we all hope to someday, with 3 tight ends performing a spectacle for us. In this case, said spectacle was not positive. Derek's passing, sorry, I'm getting teared up, was the result of an overpowering gut punch of flavoring known as Mike Evans. Evans was protecting an elderly man's feelings when he should have been focused on saving a young man's life. Derek began to feel ill as Evans was escorted away from the game. He turned to motivational phrases such as, "A penny played is a penny earned." As time went on, he realized that earning pennies is quite meaningless when everyone else is making quarters. Derek leaves behind a team with potential. Maybe not good potential, but it is potential nonetheless. Finn. Go Packers.
Game over.